Welcome to my channel. My name is Shoshana, and I want to talk about how we are directly connected and inseparable from our Maker, from God, from existence itself, and kind of connect into that addiction. What is addiction and why we are prone to addiction, and how we are riddled with addictions and not perceived obvious addictions. The perceived obvious addictions are the easiest ones to handle. The addictions that are the most difficult are the ones that we are unaware of and don't consider to be addictions, which are behavioral patterns or all sorts of mechanisms that we have created within ourselves of coping, different automatic functions that we have turned on within ourselves that allow us to avoid the extreme of intensity that we are the magnitude of ourselves. And this is how it connects. When we are on the spiritual path, and this is spiritual awakening, we are breaking through and breaking apart our outer shell. It's like the ego self. The ego self is still there, but we are breaking through the illusion that we are the ego. The ego is our ultimate tool that allows us to have this life experience, and it is when the ego is my guide to life explained to me once, and I thought it just hit me as it was like a perk, one of those brain teases or one of those brain tickles. It said, your ego is a wonderful servant, but a horrible master. And it is so true. Your ego is your ultimate tool that you were given in order to have this life experience. And as where we are going through ourselves uh, into enlightenment, which is complete understanding and complete merging with the divine, with this higher power, with God, with our maker, with the all, with knowing, with the universe, whatever you want to call it. The magnificence of it all is so massive. The magnitude of it is so enormous that it is difficult to remain in the perception of it. This is why we only get glimpses of God. We get glimpses of the awe, of the magnificence, of the wonders of creation, the magic of it all, the magic that we are, just our own existence, just that we are alive is in itself a complete miracle. And life itself is a miracle. And it is difficult because it is so enormous. As long as we have shadows within ourselves, as long as we are not willing to stand up in our true magnificence and the full power of ourselves and merge with our maker, we are always going to be looking for outs, looking for ways not to have to do the work, not because what are we afraid of? We're afraid of our own expansion. We're afraid of feeling all of our emotions to the extreme. We are afraid of our own power. We're afraid of the massive being that we are. We're afraid of our own magnitude. We are afraid of our own um, energy. And so we are sleeping. So we turn ourselves off. So we have all sorts of escapes. So we can't, because when we look directly at the light, it is so blinding that it is difficult to stay in that light. And when you are completely merged with the maker, you cannot have within you falsities. You cannot have shadows. When you are immersed in pure light, there are no shadows. And so your shadow aspects, that's as we get closer to the light, the shadow aspects get more and more exposed. And as they're exposed, we feel more and more vulnerable and more exposed is the word that keeps coming, but that's what it is. We're getting more and more exposed, and the more we get exposed, it's like we can't deal with the enormity of it. And so, how does this all connect with addiction? Addiction are patterns that the most dangerous addictions, right? There are the external addictions, which are very difficult. I'm not belittling. I speak from a place of knowing and of having dealt with within myself addiction to alcohol, to tobacco, to weed, to any kind of out that I could find, behavioral patterns, going into victim mode, lashing out. There's so many different addictions that we don't even interpret as addictions. And that's why they are the most difficult to overcome. We don't see them. We see them as parts of ourselves. We see them as our personality. We see them, well, that's just the way it is. And that's a cop out, right? If we have a behavioral pattern that is not serving us, that is on automatic mode, that we don't see why we keep getting into the same situation over and over and over with the different people, right? But it would still remain the same dynamic because we are in the dynamic. We are part of the dynamic. So if we have a dynamic within us that works with somebody else's dynamic, right? Let's say victim victor mode, right? Every person that we encounter, let's say if I am a sociopath, every person that I encounter that is a victim, those two uh, uh, those two co-parts, right, of the dynamic, those two create a dynamic together, right? If an aggressor comes to somebody that is not in victim mode, the aggression won't work there. There's nothing to hold on to. You have to have the victim. That's why it is always a dual part, because when it is one dynamic that happens with two or more parts to play. But if I am an aggressor, then that is my go-to emotion, because whenever something in life gets too close to something that I am not willing to face and willing to stand upright in, the shadow aspects of myself, right? Because there are places within myself that are asleep. That means that I am not aware of them. They're in the subconscious. They're happening over here where I'm not looking, and I'm not willing to look because it's too difficult to look. So in those places, you can see it as behavioral patterns, demons, whatever you want to call it, attach onto our consciousness and create these patterns of behavior that we are unaware of. We don't even see them. Have you ever seen somebody that completely lashes out in constantly and consistently? Anybody gets close to them, they lash out, and you're like, well, why can't they just get over that? Why can't they just, don't they see themselves? Can't they see what they're doing? It doesn't have to be lashing out. It could be any kind of behavioral pattern. And you're just like, well, they don't see it. How could they behave in that way? And it is because, and we also find within ourselves those behavioral patterns. That's the most atrocious thing. It's like, oh, I can't believe that when you see it, when that blind is put down and you see it, sometimes it is so life-changing, so altering, so we're so ashamed of ourselves for not seeing it before. But that is the work, that we could not see it before we saw it. Otherwise, what would be the work, right? So a lot of those patterns are created in early childhood before we are aware. And so what I understand is that a lot of times when we are during the spiritual awakening, as we're going towards the light, and we are unable to completely stand up in that light, we will adopt all sorts of addictions in order to avoid the enormity of it all, because we can't deal with the enormity of ourselves. We can't deal with those big emotions. We can't deal with our own power. We can't stand upright in and harness all of that power that is flowing through us. So we cop out and find ways of running away. It could be going to smoke weed. It could be drinking alcohol. It could be sex addictions, it could be porn addictions, it could be anything that gives us that relief from having to front forward face our own power, or the power of God, or the power of this enlightenment. And many people along the way get stuck in these loops of addictions forever until the end of their life. And they never truly grab that, because if you always have the power, you have the power. Sometimes you lose your sight of things, and it gets kind of confusing and you don't see what's right, but you always have the power. The power is within you and only within you. You can have guides that guide you. You can have mirrors that reflect yourself back to yourself. You can have hands that holds your hand along the way in certain places along the path, but you are always the one that sets yourself free, and the truth will set you free when you are willing to look for the truth. And because you are always connected to your maker, you are always connected to God, you are always connected to the all, to the divine, that life that is flowing through you, what is that? You are connected, and it cannot be different. And when you reach out and in full faith and you call on that connection and you say, guide me, and you surrender into the unknown, into the unknowing, it always shows up for you. You always, and it shows up for you in ways that you could not have ever imagined. Because had you imagined it, you would have already had it, right? So it always shows up in ways that you could never have imagined, and just allow it to set you in awe, in complete awe. And regarding the addictions, right? Knowing why you are prone to addiction and why those addictions are there, because you cannot deal with your own power, because you don't feel like you have the strength to stand up right within yourself, which you always do. It's an illusion. But because you don't feel, then you have this you tendency, or you're prone to fall into these weak states, or something that gives you relief, but it's a false relief, because all it is doing is relieving the symptoms of the not standing up, right? With me, it's in alcohol. It was relieving the symptoms of me feeling powerless and weak. I didn't want to deal with myself. I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal with the emotions. And every evening I started drinking, which allowed me to cope. So it was a coping mechanism. And in order to get to full enlightenment, you cannot take that alcohol with you into an enlightenment. You have to be able to get to a state where you can fully harness your own power completely without having training wheels on, without having those support systems or the people that you lean on. I did a video earlier on pain. What is pain? And it gets into detail into some aspects of that and explains it very well. So because when you release all of your training wheels and all of your crutches, right? You can't take crutches with you into complete enlightenment. Complete enlightenment means that you can stand in your full mighty essence, stand upright and hold your power, and know that you are powerful, and hold that within the world, that space within the world, and it's soft. There is no force in it. It becomes completely soft, like an internal knowing that you are a powerful being. A powerful being does not need to prove that they are powerful. A powerful being is just powerful inherently. And so this place is a place of softness and awe and bewilderment, I want to say almost. It's like you're in awe of the magnificence of it all. Because when you can see and perceive the magnificence of it all, it is of the Almighty. It's kind of like a biblical word, but it is. That's what it is. It is the magnificence of the leaf. How did the leaf come to be? And I am as magnificent as the leaf, and knowing my own magnificence, standing upright in that and knowing it to the depths, and being able to see that every cell in my body is a miracle, and everything around me is a miracle. Life itself is a miracle. And being in that awe takes everything in you to be able to even hold it for a minute, that knowing. It is a power, it is a force. Um, so thank you for watching. I'm sending you so much love, and know that with addiction is a part of it. It's inseparable part of the human experience. That is the work. We're working through anything that we are holding on to. You have to let go of anything in the finite world. And in order to come and fully immerse yourself in that place that is just pure suspension, you're suspended between all the different dimensions all at once. It's a pureness. It is a pure light. Uh, and in order to do that, you have to begin to let go. And in order to let go, you have to first be holding. So you have to, that is part of the process. So don't beat yourself up, and just know that you do have the power to do it. It would not be present in your life if you could not overcome it. So I'm sending you so much love and so much strength on this journey, and understanding, and just be easy with yourself. Easy. You can't do it with conflict in yourself, because that is pushing against your own self. You have to be in self-love and acceptance and knowing, just a knowing and determination, and not giving up on yourself, knowing that you are worth it. You are worth it, and this life experience is worth it. So sending you so much love. If you need more help or support, my contact information is in my website below. Thank you.